Finding your source of direct traffic in Google Analytics can be tricky, and unfortunately, not every source can be tracked. But there are definitely a few things you can do to make your website traffic a little more trackable and even see where it's coming from. I'm Chia, and I'll be explaining this inside this video. Hey, it's Chia from Brand24, and today I want to talk about what Google Analytics doesn't show you, or more precisely, where your direct traffic comes from. So first of all, what is direct traffic? Well, direct traffic is basically an umbrella term that Google Analytics uses when it's not clear how exactly people got to your site. So if your referral information is incomplete, Google can't fully process your traffic source. This infographic from Built Visible gives us a picture of the information that Google Analytics needs to find the source of your traffic, starting with AdWords, your campaign source, and the search engine. And this is just a very simplified example. So there are a few common sources of direct traffic. I will cover 5 of them today. The first 2 are, I think, a little bit obvious, while the other 3 might not be. So one source of direct traffic is when your URL is manually entered into a browser location bar. This is probably the best type of direct traffic because it also means that your brand awareness is really high. But unless your website address is Nike.com, it would be a little naive to assume that this is what makes up the majority of your direct traffic. Now, a second source of direct traffic that you might know of is when your website has been bookmarked and people repeatedly visit your page that way. Now, a third source of direct traffic that's a little more technical is when linking occurs between HTTP and HTTPS sites. First of all, HTTP refers to Hypertext Transfer Protocol, which is the protocol that transfers data between a browser and the website that it's accessing. The S in HTTPS stands for secure, since the transmitted information is encrypted. So if you are in e-commerce, then you've probably already moved your website over to HTTPS, and this is great for your digital security, but there are a lot of sites that still use HTTP. Actually, according to whynothttps.com, 30% of the world's 560 largest sites still use HTTP, including ESPN.com. You can tell by the section in the address bar that says not secure, which is clearly shown in the Google Chrome browser bar. And this can easily account for a part of your direct traffic, because when an HTTP site links to your HTTPS page, then for security reasons, the refer information for any clicks won't be transmitted. Without referrer data, clicks on that link will show up as direct traffic. And a fourth source of direct traffic is when someone visits your website from a link in a PDF, a Microsoft Word doc, or any other type of offline document like many white papers. Since the traffic isn't web-based, the click won't pass along any referral information to Google Analytics. Now, our fifth source of direct traffic comes from links shared in Messenger apps like Facebook, Messenger, Google Hangouts, Skype, or WhatsApp. Much like the case with PDFs and other docs, clicks on links shared in Messenger apps also tend to get stripped of referral data. So these are just a few sources of direct traffic. There are definitely more, like if you misuse web redirects or if the Google Analytics tracking code wasn't added to your new landing page, all of which can play tricks on your analytics. So how can you see where your direct traffic actually comes from? Well, if your direct traffic is coming from people manually entering your URL into their browser address bar or from your site being bookmarked, consider yourself lucky. While there isn't really a way around this, it means your brand awareness is really high and people anticipate going back to your site. To identify the other sources of direct traffic that I mentioned, your best bet is to use a combination of UTM links and social media monitoring. So use UTM links in PDFs, your email marketing campaigns, and wherever else you can. Check out the description for this video down below for a link to a good UTM builder. Now, what happens when someone else links to your site? This is pretty much out of your hands. Unless you're building a relationship with them, half the time you probably won't even get a do follow link, much less be able to specify UTM tracking parameters, which is too bad because these mentions could send a ton of website traffic your way. In this case, the best way to find these external sources of direct traffic is by using a social media monitoring tool to find mentions of your brand and your website. This is actually how we identified the source of a big spike in direct traffic for Brand24. So back in March, we saw a sudden increase in web traffic, but Google Analytics classified most of it as direct traffic. When we cross-checked this with our brand mentions inside Brand24, we noticed a similar surge in social media reach for the same time frame. The tool showed us that Brand24 had been mentioned by 2 significant sources inside the transcript of a well-known podcast and in an article on Inc.com. So these mentions had really impressive social media reach, resulting in a lot of direct traffic to Brand24.com, which is also a sign that you found a marketing channel with a lot of potential. And this was just a really quick look at how to find the source of direct traffic to your website. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comment section below. And if you found this video helpful, feel free to like and share so we can help make direct traffic a little less mysterious for even more people. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where I will be explaining how to do even more in social media and digital marketing each week. I hope you learned something useful, and I'll see you next time. Bye!